Making six figures doesn't mean that you are super rich. In fact, most high earners are just one paycheck away from going broke. And in this video, I'm going to be covering the 10 biggest mistakes high earners make and keeps them poor, and how to break free of this cycle. Mistake number one is lifestyle inflation. This one is a big one, and it is so fascinating that a lot of high earners, when they start making this amount of money, they start inflating their lifestyles. And I'm sure you've all heard about lifestyle creep, where let's say you are making a certain amount of money and now you're making now six figures, and now everything start changing. You change your all of a sudden, the car that you're driving that was perfectly fine is no longer good for you. The house where you are, the neighborhood you are staying at, all of a sudden it becomes like this neighborhood is not good for you. It's time to move and get a higher mortgage. Everything goes, the way you dress, the places that you eat, everything changes. You feel like, you know what, I deserve it. I have worked so hard for all these years and now I'm making six figures, so why not start living the best life? But yet all the money that you are given has gone into expenses, and we forget that we are increasing our expenses instead of creating wealth, because the things that we change when we get more money, they're not making us more richer. They're making us more poor, because guess what? It's not creating wealth. So instead of lifestyle creeping, why don't you put that money aside when you get that money and start creating wealth? Mistake number two, owning too many liabilities and not enough assets, or no assets at all. And this happens when we clip our lifestyles, where you've bought all those, the boats, the new mortgage, that luxury car, the bags, all those things that you just clipped your lifestyle with are all depreciating assets. They are depreciating and they're not even assets. They are liabilities, and you don't have assets at all. So that's a mistake that people make when they are earning a lot of money. They have a lot of liabilities. They just keep accumulating liabilities and they're not thinking about assets. And the next time when you're doing that lifestyle creep, ask yourself, whatever I'm buying, is this gonna make me money, or is it gonna be taking money from me? Let's say it's that mortgage, like, you're thinking, now that I'm earning more money, I need to move from this neighborhood. Ask yourself, that money, that I'm gonna be, the difference between the mortgage I'm paying here and the mortgage I'm gonna be paying in that neighborhood that I feel like I deserve, is that money gonna be making me money, or it's gonna be taking money away from me? So think about that before you make that decision. Mistake number three, no clear financial plan. A six-figure income can disappear in a heartbeat if you have no plan for it. And most of the time we think because the money is there that we can spend the way we want, but that money disappears so quickly when we have no plan for it, because everybody is fighting for that the money that we have. But when we have a plan, it is so much easier to have that money work for us, as opposed to having no plan or financial plan at all. So make sure that you have a plan. 50, 30, 20 rule. Use the 50% of your money on your needs, 30% on your wants, and 20% saving, investing, all paying off debt. So make sure that you have a plan, because if you don't have a plan, somebody else is gonna make a plan for your money. Mistake number four is carrying a lot of debt. High earners carry a lot of debt, and the reason that they carry a lot of debt is because they have no urgency to pay these debts, because they think, what, I can afford this and this, I can afford this and this, and they have no urgency because they feel like, oh my goodness, I'm always gonna have this amount of money and there is no need to worry about it. As opposed to feeling like, what, now that I'm making all this money, why don't I get out of debt first? And then I can use the money that I have to create the wealth that I desire. And that's why you find a lot of people that make a lot of money, they lose their job and they lose everything else. Why do they lose everything else? It's because they never thought that, that paycheck can be pulled away from them, because they were in so much debt and they were not even thinking that, oh my goodness, I could lose this job in a heartbeat. Instead of paying all the creditors all this amount of interest, a lot of them do not make it an emergency to pay off their debts just because they're making this amount of money feel like, you know what, it's okay, I can pay these debts off anytime that I want to. Mistake number 5 is relying on one source of income. That paycheck may feel so secure because, again, it's a 6-figure job. I'm a high earner. I have job security. But with this day and age, people losing their job with the AI, people losing their jobs because of economy, people losing their job because of layoffs. Nobody's job these days is secure. So make sure you have another source of income. And that's one of the mistakes that high earners make, thinking, oh, I'm secure with this job. I'm a high earner. Nobody's gonna, again, take this job away from me. So they rely on that source of income instead of, like, when you're earning all this money, investing, let's say, a huge portion of that high earning, instead of inflating your lifestyles and saying, you know what, I'm going to use this amount where I'm earning all this money and start investing, maybe, let's say it's in real estate, so that at least you can have something, another source of income. Because if you lose this income, you can be able to have another source of income, like a rental income, so that you don't have to file for bankruptcy or go into debt again because you have lost your job. Mistake number 6 is you're not investing enough, or you're not investing at all. Having a high income means nothing if you're not putting that money away to work for you at all. And high earners, they believe that their salary, again, that is always going to be steady and it's going to be there for their long-term wealth, which is further from the truth, because inflation is constantly eating up our money. Job losses, again, as I said, but instead, invest in stocks, real estate, contribute to your Roth IRA, put money aside in 401k, because, again, you find that this high earners, sometimes they tell themselves, I don't need a 401k, I don't need, retirement. I'm going to have this job forever. I'm earning enough money and this is my wealth and I'm going to be having it for long term. So don't be the one that's making this mistake. So invest as much amount as you can, because your future self will thank you. Mistake number 7, you don't track your spending. Again, one of the biggest mistakes the high earners make is that they assume that because they make good money, they don't need a budget. Who needs a budget when I'm making all this money? It's there to be spent, or I know what I'm doing. And sometimes you make that money and you're not even tracking it and you're just using it because it's there. But because it has no plan, again, as I said before, people are looking. Everybody is competing for your money. Everybody is looking to see how they can get a portion of your money. So make sure that you're tracking your money. And just because you're a high earner, that does not exempt you from tracking your money, from having a budget. Because if you're not aware where your money is going, how are you even living? When we are earning a lot of money, you find that, there's a spending here, Amazon here, a coffee here, eating out here, eating out there, and I'm not preaching the gospel of do not spend your money or you cannot have, coffee. What I'm saying is that, do you have a budget for your coffee? Or you might be spending all this money out there without knowing, and you look back and say, oh my goodness, I didn't even know that I spent all this money on these certain things that I should not have done. So lack of tracking is one of the wealth killers. So make sure you're spending, you're tracking, and you have a budget. Mistake number 8 is prioritizing looking rich as opposed to being rich. A lot of people, again, they think that, oh, because I am making, I'm a high earner, I'm gonna look rich, I have to impress people that don't even know me, and I have to get the best of the cars, the best of the houses, the best of the vacations, the best of everything. So because why not? And how are people gonna know that I am earning a lot of money? I know people that make high 6 figures and yet they are so broke, but then the cars they drive, the houses they live in, it's like, hello, how? Paying for car for like almost $1,000 for a car. You're paying a mortgage of like $4,000 because maybe you want to live in a high rise or you want to live in a penthouse, just because I'm making this money, but it looks good out there, but nobody knows what you're going through. But yet silently you're broke, but you're just doing this so that you can impress people that do not even know you, that don't even care about you. So that's one of the mistakes that I see a lot of high earners making, which literally drains their accounts, but yet in the inside they're hurting because they're just doing this to impress people. Again, don't impress people that do not know you. Mistake number 9, a high salary does not protect you from emergencies. I'm going to say that again. High income does not protect you from emergencies. Emergencies come to anybody, whether you're a high earner, you're a 6-figure earner, 7-earner, high earner. Emergencies can come to anybody, and life happens. You have a medical emergency, you have a job loss, or anything. When this happens and you don't have cash reserves, what happens? You end up going back into debt, yet you're earning all this money, but then you start using credit cards because you did not have money set aside, because you thought like that money is always gonna be there. You never thought that, again, where we talked about having a plan, you didn't think, oh my goodness, I might need a plan, I might need the money for emergency. You never thought that. So not having an emergency is such a disaster. So make sure that even as a high earner, that you're putting money aside to make sure that if an emergency knocks at your door, that you have something to fall back to. Mistake number 10 is not definition of financial freedom. You're making all this money, but you don't even know what all this money to you, or you have no goal of, let's say, either retiring. When do you want to retire? When do you plan not to work? But you're feeling like, oh my goodness, I'm always going to have this money. You're always chasing the next paycheck. You're always chasing the next, promotion, because you have no place where you've defined that, this is amount of money that I need to make to be comfortable, to be able to fund my investments, to be able to fund my children's college, to be able to fund the things that I need to fund. But you're feeling like, oh my goodness, I'm always chasing the next big paycheck. I'm always chasing it's the next big thing. It's the next big thing. When is it going to be enough? What does freedom mean for you? Is it when you get ABC? Is it when you make a certain amount? So if you don't have a goal, if you have no plan, then you're going to be running in cycles, and you're not going to be able to know when you feel like, what, I can cut back down now. I need to maybe take some time off to spend time with my children, or I don't need to chase that next promotion because what, I am good here. So if you don't have a financial goal, make sure that that you make that financial goal all the financial freedom, what that means to you. And there you have it. That's the 10 biggest mistakes that I find keep the high earners broke. Let me know. Have you ever made any of these mistakes? Maybe you're a high earner and you feel like, oh my goodness, that is me. Let me know in the comment, and I will see you in the next video. And thank you so much for watching. Do not forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you.